Last week, I asked you the question, how would you spend £20.5 billion on our great NHS? And I'm going to be looking at some of your answers to that question at the end of this video. This week, I want to talk about the fact that Inside Housing reported that the number of homes that started to be built is up 12% compared to last year, and that's great news. So I've asked my friend, the Community Secretary, James Brokenshire, to come in and explain what's behind that increase.
In the last year, the government have taken a number of steps to ensure that we have the right environment to see that we're building the homes our country needs. We're determined to get the whole country building, whether that be the private sector, housing associations, or indeed councils as well. We've been reforming the planning system to make the rules clearer, to set the new planning handbook in place, such that councils can get on, develop their own plans, and also there's certainty for developers too. And seeing the figures this week that show that we've had the highest number of new home build starts in a decade, and that comes on the back of seeing 222,000 new homes delivered, the highest level in all but one of the last 31 years. And one other important step that we've taken is to respond to some of the concerns that I've heard about new build homes just not looking good enough. That's why I've set up a new commission, the Building Better, Building Beautiful Commission, to really think about what is it intrinsically that creates something that people want to live in, that has that sense of pride and integrity that will stand the test of time.
And we have a question for this week as well. We now see house building up at over 220,000 homes a year, and we want to get to an average of 300,000 homes a year. With the government doing more work on affordable housing, on private sector housing, we're seeing modern methods of construction coming through and developing. What area do you think can deliver the biggest part of growth? What would you like to see the market deliver next? Tell me in the comments below or tweet me at Brandon Lewis. So I'm now going to have a look at some of the suggestions and comments you made in answer to that question about how you would spend £20.5 billion on our NHS. Apple on 10, with a pretty unsympathetic photo of David Cameron as the avatar, I have to say, has said, I think the Conservatives can never be trusted with the NHS. Well, Apple on, whoever you are, let me just be very upfront with you. In our party, the Conservative Party, we have supported the principle of the NHS since its inception. That means we've been running the NHS for 43 of its 70 years. And we're now giving it the biggest cash increase in its history, on top of that year-on-year increase we've seen. That £20.5 billion we have put in to implement the NHS's own long-term plan. Now, if what you were talking about in your tweet is some of the misrepresentation we often see about privatisation, the King's Fund think tank itself has repeatedly confirmed that those kind of claims have not only been, well, they've been exaggerated. It's just not correct. And this, of course, this system of making sure people had good care, wherever it came from, was started under a Labour government. Let's turn to another question. John Proctor put in, let's just get it run more efficiently. You don't need to plough money into a failing business. You need to make it more efficient. And I think, John, I get the point you're making. And the Prime Minister was clear that our long-term plan for the NHS must ensure that every penny of that £20.5 billion is well spent, that we tackle waste and reduce bureaucracy, so all of those savings are spent on patients. Recruitment is the most important thing to spend money on. Hospitals are too stretched. You must have the people in place if this plan is to be a success. That's from Royal Navy News one-on-one. Well, I completely agree. And that's why we have committed to growing the workforce with more doctors, more nurses and other health professionals, particularly in mental health, primary care and community services. Joan Smith has sent a tweet in saying, plugging a few of the gaps funding cuts have caused. We make no apology for the fact, and we're upfront about the fact. We had to make difficult decisions back in 2010 with the economic mess that we inherited. But NHS funding has risen year on year since 2010 and is now at record levels under a Conservative government. Now, the last question is from Rombald Hartemink. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly. And You've sent through a number of ideas around how you would spend the money, particularly referring to data, technology, digital work. And Matt Hancock himself, the Health Secretary, has been clear he is committed to upgrading technology within the health service, getting rid of fax machines and moving things forward. It means we'll be introducing more digital care, meaning people will be able to get medical advice via the NHS app, through telephone calls and video consultations. Thank you to all of you who have commented and tweeted me over the last week on the question, and I'm sorry that I haven't had time to reply to them all. Thank you for watching. See you next time.